Chapter 228. Ah. Oh my god. What was going on? Ningxi's brain felt like it had been invaded by a virus. Her first reaction when she finally woke up was to push him away. However, Lu Tingxiao tightened his arms and said in a pitiful voice, "Don't move, okay? Let me hug you for a while." Ningxi was speechless. How was she supposed to respond to this request? Damn it. What was going on with Lu Tingxiao? Although she had been deliberately avoiding him for the past 2 days, she had been careful not to alert him. Why did he suddenly? 10 seconds passed, 30 seconds passed, 1 minute passed, 3 minutes passed. What happened to the promise of falling in a while? He was too untrustworthy. Just when Ningxi couldn't take it anymore, Lu Tingxiao let go of her. "Sorry, I forgot myself." Ningxi swallowed. "Hehehe, it's okay." Damn it, she almost had a heart attack, and in the end, it was over with just one sentence. What was worse was that she couldn't even say no. Lu Tingxiao looked at the girl's aggrieved expression, and a gleam of light flashed across his smiling eyes. "Go to bed early, good night." "Haha, good night, you too." "Good night my ass, she didn't need to sleep tonight." The next morning Ningxi, who had insomnia all night, hid in bed and didn't dare to get up. Finally, she secretly called Wan Wan. "Wan Wan, has your young master gone to work yet?" "Not yet. But I see that he's quite busy. Ever since he got up and went downstairs, his phone hasn't stopped ringing. Assistant Chung also came over in a hurry. He seems to be asking when he's leaving. And then young master still hasn't left. He's still downstairs. I don't know what he's waiting for." Ningxi was speechless. It looked like she couldn't avoid it. Ningxi took several deep breaths and adjusted her mentality. She took out the indestructible mask and went downstairs with a calm and natural expression. Lu Tingxiao was sitting calmly on the sofa, while his special assistant, Cheng Feng, was holding a large pile of documents. His face was filled with anxiety, but he didn't dare to rush Lu Tingxiao. Ningxi stretched herself as she went downstairs. When she looked at Lu Tingxiao downstairs, she deliberately made a surprised expression. "Hey Lu Tingxiao, it's so late. Why haven't you gone to work yet?" When Lu Tingxiao heard the girl's voice, he raised his eyes and looked at her. His gaze was like wool, wrapping around her gently. "I'm waiting for you," Lu Tingxiao said. Ningxi was stunned. Why did she suddenly realize that she couldn't talk to Lu Tingxiao properly? Just when Ningxi was in a daze, Lu Tingxiao had got up and walked towards her. Ningxi instinctively wanted to dodge, but the man's gaze seemed to have an invisible force that froze her in place, making her unable to move. A moment later, Lu Tingxiao had already walked in front of her, his broad palm stroking her hair. "If I don't wait for you now, I won't be able to see you for the whole day." Ningxi remained in a daze. "I'm going to work," Lu Tingxiao said as he leaned over and planted a kiss on her forehead. Ningxi. She was completely dead. Cheng Feng, who was behind her, looked as if he had been blinded. Then he blushed and averted his gaze. It was terrible. Not only had he almost gone crazy in the morning, he had also been abused. Chapter 229. Even after Lu Tingxiao had left for a long time, Ningxi was still standing there in a daze. Her fingers subconsciously touched her forehead where he had just kissed her, and the burning feeling continued. Although it was just a kiss on the forehead, and she had even secretly kissed him before, this was the first time they had kissed each other while both of them were sober. At this moment, Ningxi finally understood. Lu Tingxiao must have discovered her strategy long ago, so he had changed his strategy. It would have been fine if he had continued to pretend as before, but if he had simply stopped hiding and turned the dark into the light, what would she do? Damn. She was doomed. She really couldn't beat him. If she was really forced to that point, there would only be one result. Parting on bad terms, or even worse. Ningxi was flustered when she suddenly felt someone tugging at her trouser leg. She looked down and saw Xiaobao looking up at her. "Xiaobao." Ningxi saw a watercolor painting in Xiaobao's hand and said in surprise, "You finished it so quickly?" Xiaobao nodded shyly, and then looked at her expectantly. Ningxi's future plans were all about accompanying Xiaobao. She had arranged today's schedule yesterday. She would take Xiaobao to fly a kite, and she would do it herself. After seeing Xiaobao's painting, Ningxi was a little surprised. Except for herself and Xiaobao, Xiaobao rarely painted portraits, and there were never people in his landscapes. But this time, Ningxi found that there were 3 people in his painting. There were white clouds floating in the vast sky, and there were 3 people sitting on the clouds, a man and a woman, and a little boy in the middle. It was still an abstract painting, but from the characteristics, Ningxi could still recognize at a glance that the people in the painting were her, Lu Tingxiao, and Xiaobao. Xiaobao had always disliked Lu Tingxiao. Even if he painted, he would only paint her or the 2 of them, and never Lu Tingxiao. This was the first time that Xiaobao had taken Lu Tingxiao with him. Ningxi was slightly stunned, but soon recovered. She took Xiaobao's hand and said, "Let's go and make a kite with him. Grandfather Butler should have prepared the bamboo strips to make the skeleton for us." Xiaobao nodded, but looked a little disappointed. Ningxi accompanied Xiaobao to fly a kite for a whole day, and she even cooked in the evening. For the past 2 days, she had taken Xiaobao out to eat, and they would come back very late. As soon as they came back, they would go into the room. Now it seemed that this trick had failed, and there was no need to continue. She had just finished cooking when Lu Jingli, that fellow's nose was like a dog's. He followed the smell and ran over, wagging his tail. "Wow, it's all my favorite food, sister-in-law. Ba cough cough Xiao Sisi, I've been waiting for you to cook again." Ningxi glanced at Lu Jingli speechlessly. Did this guy just accidentally call her sister-in-law? Go ask your brother to come down for dinner. Oh, okay. Lu Jingli hurriedly ran away. At the same time, his heart was filled with doubts. Just now he had accidentally let it slip. He was so shocked that he broke out in a cold sweat. Why didn't Ningxi react? Did he not hear it clearly? At the dining table, Lu Jingli's keen intuition told him that something was wrong with the 2 of them. Something's wrong, something's wrong. Lu Jingli bit his chopsticks, moved closer to his brother's ear, and whispered, "Brother, did you do something to Xiao Sisi? Why does she look so afraid of you? She doesn't even dare to look at you." Chapter 230. Nothing. Lu Tingxiao replied. There was nothing strange on his expressionless face. Is there something wrong with my 6th sense? That's impossible. Lu Jingli scratched his head in confusion. Finally, the meal was over. Ningxi felt that this meal was more tiring than fighting a war. She had to be alert at all times. After the meal, Ningxi immediately stood up to clean up the dishes. "I'm going to wash the dishes." Lu Jingli swept away the last piece of sweet and sour pork ribs on the plate, and said with puffed cheeks, "Let me do it." "It's okay, I'll do it." Ningxi rushed to do the work. If she didn't find something to do, she would go crazy. Lu Jingli glanced at Lu Tingxiao next to him and said in a hurry, "You've worked so hard to cook. How can I let you do the dishes? I eat the most, so of course I'll do it." Lu Jingli gave his brother a look to ask for credit. However, Lu Tingxiao glanced at him carelessly and said, "Let Ningxi do it." Ah, Lu Jingli was shocked. Did the sun rise from the west today? How could the crazy man who protected his wife let Ningxi do the dishes? This was not scientific. When Lu Jingli was puzzled, Lu Tingxiao looked at him and said quietly, "After all, you are a guest." Lu Jingli's jaw dropped as he pointed at his own face. "What? I am a guest?" In other words, he was saying that Ningxi was his family, wasn't he? So he became a guest? Ningxi's cheeks turned red, and she held her forehead with a desperate expression. Finally, she ran upstairs. Xiaobao looked at Aunt Xiaoxi, who suddenly ran away with a confused face. Although he didn't know what happened to Aunt Xiaoxi, he knew that Papa bullied her, so he glared at Lu Tingxiao unhappily and then followed up with his short legs. Lu Jingli, who was caught off guard, stared at Ningxi's back and was speechless. "Brother, is this what you mean by you didn't do anything? Even a tough girl like Sisi was teased by you and ran away with her face covered. I knew my 6th sense would not be wrong. I say, what the hell are you trying to do? I'm so careful every day, afraid that I'll expose you. How did you suddenly become so bold and unrestrained? You should at least let me know so that I know how to cooperate with you in the future." Lu Jingli muttered for a long time before Lu Tingxiao replied with 3 words. "Go wash the dishes." With that, she turned around and went upstairs. Lu Jingli. He was beaten black and blue and almost vomited blood, But in the end he was still the one doing the dishes? Using him to throw him away after showing off their affection? Where was humanity? What about justice? Do you still have any brotherly love? In the quiet night, Ningxi lies on the bed with her eyes wide open. It had already been a few hours, but his heart was still beating at an abnormal rate. What the hell? She was someone who had been through a lot, yet she was so flustered just because of a man's words. She was like a teenage girl who had no love experience at all. She did not dare to imagine what the days ahead would be like. No. She couldn't continue to wait for death like this. At this time, with a click, the clock on the wall pointed to 12 o'clock in the morning. Ningxi got up and began to rummage through the cabinets. Chapter 231. After rummaging for a while, Ningxi changed into a silver sequin camisole, black tight leather pants, and 12-centimeter high heels. Then, she put on smoky makeup that even her mother wouldn't recognize. Cinderella put on a gorgeous dress at midnight, and drove a pumpkin carriage to the palace to flirt with the prince. As for her, she dressed up as a little goblin, and went to a nightclub in the middle of the night to annoy the devil. Sigh. Lu Tingxiao had been busy these 2 days. He shouldn't be asleep at this time, right? Ningxi ran to the balcony and looked in the direction of the study. Sure enough, the light in Lu Tingxiao's study was still on. So she decisively ran to knock on the door. Well, I'll try to blind him later. Dong dong dong. She knocked on the door 3 times. After a moment, steady footsteps came from behind the door. Then the door opened. When Lu Tingxiao saw the person outside the door, he was startled. I'm going out for a drink with a friend. I came to tell you. Ningxi said, looking expectantly at Lu Tingxiao's reaction. Lu Tingxiao's surprise only lasted for a moment. He nodded as if he hadn't seen her exaggerated makeup. Okay, have fun. Then he asked, do you need me to ask the driver to take you? Ningxi's face darkened. Ahem, no need. I'll go by bike. She took a deep breath, pulled herself together, and was about to leave when Lu Tingxiao, who was sitting at the desk, suddenly walked towards her. What did he want? Ningxi subconsciously took a step back, but she still couldn't avoid Lu Tingxiao's hand. His fingers touched her earlobe and gently pinched it. Ningxi's hair stood on end. She covered her ears and looked at Lu Tingxiao as if he was a strange uncle. Lu Tingxiao's lips curved imperceptibly. He pointed to the place he had touched and said, you have a black mole here. So, why did he mention her mole all of a sudden? Ningxi's mind was in a mess, and she couldn't understand his logic. Ordinary people can't recognize your outfit and makeup, but this mole is very iconic and completely exposed. It's better to cover it, Lu Tingxiao said. Ningxi stood 2 steps away. It's just a mole. No one will notice it, right? It's best to be careful. All right, what you said makes sense. I'll wear a bigger ear stud to cover it later. Yes. After a brief confrontation, Ningxi finally rode away from the gate. Why did she have the illusion that she would lose miserably at the beginning of this round? No. Wake up. I must break the superstition of the great demon king. At the bar. It was rare for Ningxi to indulge herself. She ordered a bottle of wine and sat at the bar. On the dance floor, demons were dancing wildly, but she didn't have the slightest interest. She absent-mindedly held the wine glass and stared blankly. Nightclubs and bars had lost their novelty during her years abroad. No matter how hot the scene was in her eyes, it was like a silent and comical mime. After drinking a bottle of wine, Ningxi ordered a second bottle. Instead of relaxing her, the alcohol only made her more upset. At this moment, a man walked towards her with a glass of wine in his hand. Miss, are you alone? The man looked to be in his 30s. He was well-dressed and looked like an elite. He seemed to have a good sense of himself. In the time it took to order a bottle of wine, many men in the bar had already noticed her. However, Ningxi looked like a veteran, and most people didn't dare to touch her. Chapter 232. Ningxi glanced at the man's left ring finger from the corner of her eye. Although he wasn't wearing a wedding ring on his finger, it was obvious that he had taken it off temporarily to pick up girls. Yes. Ningxi tilted her head and replied lazily. The man's face lit up. Can I sit down? Of course. Ningxi smiled lightly, her eyes carrying an obvious hint. The man couldn't hide the joy on his face. He began to say something cliched. Are you in a bad mood? Ningxi sighed. Yeah. I've fallen out of love. A beauty like you can fall out of love too? What kind of man doesn't know how lucky he is? The elite man looked surprised. I dumped him. Ahem. Then he must have made you angry. Yeah. I just came to the nightclub to have sex. What's wrong with that? After he found out, he started to fight with me. Don't you think it's infuriating? Ugh. The elite man finally choked and couldn't speak. Why did he feel that this line was so familiar? He seemed to have said this when he was complaining to his buddies about how his wife fought with him all day. However, he was bewitched by the woman in front of him. He didn't realize that he had been tricked. After 3 rounds of drinks, the two of them left the bar together. Where are we going? Junlai or Mingzhu? The elite man asked anxiously. Why are we going to a hotel? Let's do it here. Ningxi pulled the man into a small alley on the side. The elite man panted excitedly and pressed her against the wall. Yes, you're right. It's more exciting here. As the two of them spoke, they didn't notice that just 5 steps away from them, a black car without a license plate was quietly parked there like a ghost. Inside the car, no matter how calm Lu Tingxiao was, he was already covered in a thick layer of frost. In the passenger seat, Lu Jingli was already regretting his decision. Because he had a strong premonition that something big would happen tonight, he couldn't fall asleep. As a result, he accidentally saw Ningxi and his brother leave one after another from the window, so he shamelessly followed them, but he never expected. How could things be this serious? He almost couldn't stand his brother's face anymore. It was so scary that it could stop children from crying at night. Watching the man in the alley touch Ningxi's waist, Lu Tingxiao's endurance should be broken even if he is an immortal. Lu Jingli could tell that Lu Tingxiao's patience was as thin as a strand of hair. Brother, are you still not going to make a move? Lu Tingxiao's voice was as cold as iron. Wait a little longer. Lu Jingli was anxious. Look at the time. What are you waiting for? If you don't make a move, you're going to turn green. Although Xiao Cixi has restrained herself a lot in the past 2 years, she still has a bad record. It's not easy for her to learn, but it's very easy for her to become bad again. Lu Tingxiao, shut up. Just as Lu Jingli closed his eyes and didn't dare to look, a heart-wrenching wail suddenly came from the other side. What? This sound isn't right. Lu Jingli opened his eyes and saw the man clutching his manhood. He was screaming more miserably than a pig being slaughtered. Then Ningxi kicked him again, and the man fell flat on his face. Just as he was about to get up, Ningxi stepped on his back. His chin hit the ground and blood flowed from his mouth. Lu Jingli couldn't bear to watch and covered his eyes. Sister-in-law is so cruel. Chapter 233. Ningxi's series of movements were as smooth as flowing water, as if she were used to doing such things in the end. She maintained the posture of stepping on the man's back and placed one hand on her knee. The seductive charm on her face had completely turned into the arrogance of a hooligan. Hand over the phone. The jerk was dizzy from the beating and had no strength to fight back. Hearing that, he hurriedly begged for mercy. My phone is in my pocket, my wallet is in my pocket, and there's a ring in my bag. I'll give it to you. Please spare my life, heroine. He had never thought that a one-night stand would be robbed. And the robber was a beauty. And judging from her terrifying murderous aura, she must be a professional. Ningxi didn't care about the jerk's misunderstanding. She took out his phone and handed it to him. Give me your finger and unlock it for me. Unlock, unlock. What are you going to do? The jerk asked warily. Ningxi slapped him. I asked you to unlock it, so just do it. Don't talk nonsense. Believe it or not, I'll break that thing 3 inches below your navel. I'll unlock it. I'll unlock it right away. The jerk was pale with fright and quickly unlocked it for her. Ningxi found his wife's phone number in his address book and made a video call. Soon the call went through. A woman's face appeared on the phone. She seemed to have a good foundation, but probably because she had been doing housework for a long time and didn't know how to take care of herself, she looked haggard and sallow. She was the typical image of a yellow-faced woman that jerks hated. Who are you? The woman's expression changed when she saw Ningxi's dazzling face. She said tiredly, no matter who you are, he can be with whoever he wants. I'm going to divorce him, and I won't take a penny from him. Whatever he does in the future has nothing to do with me. Don't come to me again. Ningxi shook her head with an exasperated expression. TSK, you're letting him off so easily? Sister, you're too kind. The woman didn't expect Ningxi to be so unpredictable. She couldn't help but be stunned. She asked warily. What do you mean? The corners of Ningxi's mouth curled up slightly. She pointed the camera at the scumbag who had been beaten black and blue by her feet. See? The woman was completely stunned when she saw the man on the phone. You. What are you doing? Ningxi chuckled. How is it? Don't you like it? It took the woman a long time to come back to her senses. Although she did not understand what was going on, looking at the man who was being beaten, she still subconsciously replied, N. After the woman finished speaking, a trace of bitterness flashed across the corner of her mouth. Once upon a time, she would be extremely nervous even if he only broke a small piece of skin. Now that she saw him in such a sorry state, there was only joy in her heart. That's good. I'm calling you. I don't mean anything else. It's just that it's better to have fun together than to have fun alone. So I'm sending it to you. Let's have fun together. Ningxi said in a frivolous tone. Oh. The woman was still in a daze, not knowing how to deal with this strange situation. As for the scumbag under Ningxi's feet, his pig-headed face was extremely distorted. He never thought that this woman would not only humiliate him physically, but also mentally, letting his wife, who had always admired him, see the side of him that had no image at all. Chapter 234. This woman wasn't doing this for money. What was she trying to do? He was so unlucky. He had met such a weirdo. However, what he didn't know was that the worst was yet to come. Ningxi suddenly thought of something. She patted her head and reminded the woman. Oh yes, I'll send you a recording of him talking to his friends to prove that he cheated. Why didn't he get a penny from the divorce? Are you out of your mind? Give me what you deserve and don't give me a penny less. Do you hear me? Yes. The woman was shocked by Ningxi's aura and answered subconsciously. Ningxi nodded with satisfaction and said earnestly, well, that's right. You can find any man you want with money. Even if you don't love him, you can at least have an obedient and handsome boy toy. If he doesn't listen to you, you can change him at any time. How great is that? The woman was speechless. The scumbag was speechless. Lu Jingli, who was standing not far away, was speechless. He actually felt that what his sister-in-law said made sense. Lu Tingxiao was speechless. The woman on the other end of the phone was confused and couldn't help asking, Thank you. But who are you? Why are you helping me? Do we know each other? Ningxi smiled at the camera. Don't mention it. Just call me Lei Feng. Then she hung up the phone, kicked the scumbag away and walked away. Lu Jingli's jaw dropped. Brother, although I shouldn't say this, I really can't help but say, sister-in-law is so damn handsome. I'm almost in love with her. Lu Tingxiao didn't have the energy to pay attention to the excited Lu Jingli. He pinched his eyebrows tiredly and looked as if he had just survived a disaster. Lu Jingli looked at his brother in admiration. Brother, you're the best. If you hadn't restrained yourself, we wouldn't have been able to see such a wonderful scene. Lu Jingli looked thoughtful and said excitedly, Speaking of which, I suddenly thought of one thing. Although I only found a list of some of them, all of them were scumbags, and they were all dumped by Ningxi in the end, including Jiang Mai. Jiang Mai always avoided talking about his relationship with Ningxi. Do you think the reason why Ningxi dated those scumbags is similar to today's situation? Fishing for bait, enforcing the law on behalf of heaven, upholding love and justice. Lu Tingxiao's expression didn't change in the slightest when he heard Lu Jingli's tone. He had never believed that she was that kind of person. Even if it was true in the past, it didn't matter. After taking care of the scumbag, Ningxi hummed a song as she rode her bike. She felt refreshed and energetic. Sure enough, Abusing a scumbag was the most effective way to relieve stress. Ningxi looked at the time on the phone. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. It was still too early. She would go back at least at 6 o'clock. Because at that time, she would bump into Lu Tingxiao in the living room, so, after thinking for a while, Ningxi turned a corner and drove to the west of the city. Half an hour later, she drove to the riverbank. After parking the car, he walked to the soft grass and sat down. She could sober up by the wind. There was another good thing about this place, and that was, there were a lot of mosquitoes. Ningxi lay down and muttered to herself, "Mosquitoes, mosquitoes, it's time to eat. Come and bite me." Chapter 235. This place was too spacious and their car had nowhere to hide, so they could only park far away. Fortunately, Lu Jingli had brought a miniature camera the size of a fly with him, and it was infrared, so it could take pictures even at night. It flew right above Ningxi's head. "Ha ha ha ha. Brother, I told you that I would be useful if you brought me along." Lu Jingli was so proud of himself. On the screen of the car, Ningxi was lying on the grass under the night sky, repeatedly saying, "Mosquitoes, come and bite me." "Sister-in-law, did you drink too much? Did you come all the way here just to feed the mosquitoes?" Lu Jingli was speechless. Lu Tingxiao didn't speak, as if he didn't find it strange at all. He focused all his attention on the girl on the screen. After Ningxi relaxed, the alcohol kicked in. She closed her eyes and felt sleepy. In a daze, she heard the rustling of footsteps behind her, and then the annoying buzzing of the mosquitoes gradually disappeared. Her body, which felt cold because of the night wind, was covered with warmth. The moment the familiar smell enveloped her, the trace of sobriety that she had forced herself to maintain disappeared. Because she was always alone, she never dared to completely pass out. She didn't even know that there was a person who could make her drunk without worrying. Lu Tingxiao helped her drive away the mosquitoes, took off his coat and covered her body. Then he stretched out an arm to rest under her neck, so that her skin wouldn't be pricked by the grass. The girl grabbed his clothes and slept soundly. Although her face was heavily made up, the innocence between her eyebrows was like that of a young and ignorant child, which made people feel sorry for her. When Ningxi woke up, the sky was already bright. She looked at the time, and saw that it was already 5:30. She only took a short nap, but she slept for so long? Ningxi patted her butt and got up. She looked at her body and was surprised to find that there weren't many mosquito bites, but it was enough. She had thought that she would be covered with bites after sleeping for so long. If that was the case, it would be too exaggerated and the effect wouldn't be good. What was even more strange was that in this autumn season, and she was by the river, when she woke up, her body actually felt warm, without a trace of coldness. Maybe it was because of the alcohol. Half an hour later, Ningxi returned to the Lu mansion. It was exactly 6 o'clock. In the living room, Lu Tingxiao was drinking tea and reading the newspaper as usual. So far, everything had gone smoothly. "Good morning, Lu Tingxiao." Ningxi walked into the room and greeted him. "Morning, you're back." Lu Tingxiao raised his head from between the newspapers. Ningxi secretly observed Lu Tingxiao's expression, and found that it was too difficult to observe the expression of a person with facial paralysis. This was because he was expressionless most of the time, and it was the same at this moment. Ningxi didn't give up. She sat down on the sofa opposite Lu Tingxiao and deliberately touched her neck. At such a close distance, he should be able to see it, right? Sure enough, Lu Tingxiao's gaze lingered on the suggestive red spots on her neck and exposed skin. Then his brows furrowed even tighter. Ningxi pretended not to notice and yawned. "I'm so tired. I'm so sleepy." "Why are you bitten by mosquitoes?" Lu Tingxiao asked. Cough, cough, cough. Ningxi almost choked on her own saliva. Was there a mistake? "When I went to the nightclub dressed like that and came back early in the morning, shouldn't you, as a normal adult man, think of love bites when you see those ambiguous marks?" Chapter 236. What kind of mosquito bite was that? She had gone to a bar. A bar? How could it be a mosquito bite? Boss, where was your high IQ and logic? But she couldn't possibly tell him that it was a hickey, could she? It was too strange, her plan had failed. Ningxi was in so much pain that she wanted to die. Just then, Lu Tingxiao put down the newspaper, got up, and took out a small white bottle from the drawer under the TV cabinet. Ningxi looked up warily. Brother, what are you doing now? This medicinal oil is very effective against mosquito bites. As Lu Tingxiao spoke, he opened the lid, dug out some, and melted it in his palm. Then his warm palm directly pressed against her neck. The moment his palm touched her, Ningxi bounced up as if she had been electrocuted. I'll do it myself. Don't move. My hand is full of medicine. Lu Tingxiao stopped her. His slightly rough fingers gently rubbed on her neck, collarbone, and back to help her absorb the medicine. He looked serious and solemn, as if he was doing something very solemn. Because of the medicinal oil, the places that were touched by his fingers felt cool, but under the skin, there was a fire that was slowly igniting. After a while, Lu Tingxiao finally finished applying the medicine. How is it? Ningxi came back to her senses. She touched the mosquito bite and blinked. Then she said in surprise, Amazing! It really doesn't itch at all. What kind of medicine is this? Why is it so effective? Ningxi wanted to bite her tongue off the moment she finished speaking. She had actually let it slip. Damn. It seemed that her previous premonition was absolutely right. She had really failed miserably. Ningxi drooped her head pitifully like a defeated kitten, and muttered in a dissatisfied tone. Lu Tingxiao, I drank. It's okay to drink once in a while. I'll help you hide it from Xiaobao. I'm going to the nightclub. Okay. Just be careful. I won't be home at all. Lu Tingxiao, aren't you angry at all? Ningxi was finally angry. Do you want me to be angry? Lu Tingxiao's tone was calm as he gazed at her darkly. Ningxi's eyes widened. She had been outmaneuvered. Lu Tingxiao helped her remove a blade of grass stuck in her hair. I told you before that you can treat this place as your own home. At this point, Lu Tingxiao suddenly paused and then changed the topic. Actually, I don't want you to go to a bar or a nightclub alone late at night, because I won't be able to sleep because of worry. However, I still respect your freedom. Ningxi's chest was hit by an arrow, Cupid's arrow. There was no way to fight this battle. The enemy was a lone wolf. Fang. Noodles. Crush. Press down. After that, Ningxi went to bars for a week, but to no avail. The only effect was, because she had dealt with a few scumbags in a row, almost all the bars in the city had started to be under martial law, and if they saw a beautiful woman, they would be strictly checked. Everything is going wrong. Ningxi finally calmed down a little. Of course, she didn't forget about business. She continued to play with Xiaobao everywhere, almost playing the entire capital. The biggest gain during this period was that under her company, Xiaobao's personality became more and more cheerful. He was no longer afraid to go out. Except that he still didn't speak and was a little introverted. He was almost like a normal child. That was great. She could finally rest assured when she left. Chapter 237. One morning, Ningxi went downstairs and saw something she hadn't seen for a long time. Little Steamed Bun and Big Steamed Bun sat opposite each other at the dining table. One had an iceberg face while the other had an iceberg face. The atmosphere was tense. What was going on? The father and son hadn't quarreled for a long time. What's wrong with you two? Ningxi asked suspiciously. Hearing Ningxi's voice, Little Bun immediately hugged her leg as if he had seen his savior. Then he stared at Lu Tingxiao vigilantly, as if Lu Tingxiao was going to sell him out. Ningxi hugged Little Bao and comforted him. Then she looked at Lu Tingxiao. Lu Tingxiao, what's going on? Lu Tingxiao looked up. I'm going to send him to my parents' place for a few days. They haven't seen him for a long time, and they miss him. So that's how it is. Ningxi nodded. When Little Bun saw this, she became anxious. Her big watery eyes quickly became misty. Ningxi's heart softened. She scratched her head and looked at Lu Tingxiao. Is there no other way? Lu Tingxiao glanced at her. Yes, let my parents stay for a few days. Well, send Little Bao over. Ningxi said decisively. Sorry, Little Bun. Auntie has no other choice. Little Bao was devastated. He ran upstairs and hid in his room with an expression as if his parents didn't love him. Ah. Ningxi laughed dryly. Well, I'll talk to him. Okay. Upstairs, Ningxi knocked on Little Bao's door. Baby, can you open the door for Auntie? There was no response from the room. Is he really ignoring me? There was still no response from the room. It seemed that he was really angry. Ningxi sighed. She had no choice but to go downstairs and walk out of the door. Lu Tingxiao said without looking up. Don't climb with your bare hands. Let the butler prepare a ladder for you. Ningxi stumbled and almost fell. Was this guy a roundworm in her stomach? How did he know that she was going to climb the wall and jump over the window? Damn it. These days, she found that Lu Tingxiao knew her better and better. Most of the time, he knew what she was going to do with just a glance or a small movement. 5 minutes later, Ningxi climbed the ladder and successfully jumped into Little Bao's room. As soon as the little fellow saw her, he ran over to her with tears in his eyes. His expression was full of grievance. When there was no response from outside the house, he thought that Ningxi really didn't want him anymore. Ningxi's heart ached as she hugged Little Bun. Baby, Auntie will always be on your side, but this time, Auntie really thinks you should go. Think about it. Your grandparents only have one precious grandson. They clearly like you so much, but in order to accommodate you, they don't dare to come and see you. Xiao Bao's head drooped. After a long while he picked up the writing board and wrote 2 words, together. He wanted Ningxi to go with him. Ningxi coughed awkwardly. I can't. How could she go to Lu Tingxiao's parents at a time like this? Because I'm about to start work. I'm afraid I don't have time. Ningxi found a good excuse and hurriedly coaxed. But I can send you there with your father. Be a good boy. Xiao Bao is already a 5-year-old little boy, and he has improved so much during this period of time. He is getting better and better, more and more powerful. He can definitely do such a small thing, right? Ningxi hugged the little bun, kissed and coaxed it, and spoke softly for almost half an hour. Finally, the little fellow let go. Chapter 238. The Lu family's mansion was located halfway up the mountain and occupied a large forest. It took more than 20 minutes to drive from the main gate to the house. Lush trees lined both sides of the road, and the scenery was great. It was said that this was where the Dragon Vein was located, a treasured land in the capital. Thanks to Xiao Bao, she had learned a lot. Through the car window, Ningxi saw the Lu family's 2 elders waiting at the door. They looked like ordinary old people who doted on their grandchildren. Ningxi patted Xiao Bao in her arms. Go. Don't forget what Auntie told you. Do your best. Looking at the encouragement and anticipation in Ningxi's eyes, Xiao Bao nodded with determination and was led out of the car by Lu Tingxiao. When they saw their precious grandson, the 2 elders were pleasantly surprised and quickly went up to him. Old Madame Lu was so emotional that her eyes were wet. She looked at her eldest son resentfully. Brat, we haven't seen Xiao Bao for a few months because of you. But you still can't get my daughter-in-law. Lu Tingxiao coughed lightly, indicating that there was someone in the car behind them. At this distance, Ningxi could still hear them. In fact, Ningxi did hear them. Taking advantage of the fact that the people outside the car could not see the people inside, Ningxi pressed her ear to the window and eavesdropped on them. Then she happened to hear old Madame Lu's words. Old Madame Lu was excited. Aya, daughter-in-law is here too? Let her get out of the car and let us see her. Mom. Lu Tingxiao looked helpless. She's shy, don't scare her. Ningxi nodded. Yes, I'm shy, don't call me out. Luckily, old Master Lu's words diverted everyone's attention. What is Xiao Bao writing? Old Master Lu asked suspiciously. Old Madame Lu also realized that Xiao Bao was writing something with his head buried in his hands after hearing her husband's words. A moment later, Xiao Bao lifted the writing board and looked at his grandfather and grandmother with his big, black pearl-like eyes. On the writing board he wrote, Grandpa, Grandma, Xiao Bao misses you very much. When old Master Lu and old Madame Lu saw the words on the writing board, they looked at each other in shock. Then their eyes turned red. Old Madame Lu looked at her husband in disbelief. Did I see wrongly? Xiao Bao called me Grandma. Although it wasn't a real call, this was the first time Xiao Bao had called her Grandma. In the past, he had always ignored them and even rejected them. I called him Grandpa too. Old Master Lu added solemnly and proudly. You said you missed us. Old Madame Lu couldn't hold it in anymore. She hugged Xiaobao and cried, Grandma's darling. Do you know how happy Grandma is? Old Master Lu sighed before he looked at his eldest son and said with a solemn expression, Ting Xiao, the person you like is very good. She taught Xiaobao very well. He only knew that Xiaobao had become more cheerful and was willing to go out, but he had never imagined that Xiaobao had improved so much. What a pleasant surprise. Isn't that right? Also, he fed me well. Look at how fat my grandson is now. You're even fatter than in the photos. Old Madame Lu was overjoyed. Yes, she is very good. Lu Tingxiao looked at the car behind him, his gaze extremely gentle. Old Master Lu patted him on the shoulder and said earnestly, Kid, do your best. Naturally, you'll have to put in more effort for the best. We'll support you unconditionally. Chapter 239. As far as Old Master Lu and Old Madame Lu were concerned, Lu Tingxiao had already achieved the glorious achievement of every member of the Lu family is assisting. In the car, seeing Lu Tingxiao walking towards the car after saying goodbye to his parents and Xiaobao, Ningxi hurriedly sat upright and pretended not to hear anything. On the way back, Lu Tingxiao suddenly asked, What are you going to do today? Today? Ningxi was dumbfounded. Oh right, she didn't have to accompany Xiaobao today, and it was Saturday, so Lu Tingxiao didn't have to work. Wouldn't that mean that she would have to spend the entire day with him, a man and a woman, alone at home? Ningxi, who found that she had fallen into a trap, was stunned. Every step he took was a pit, and he would fall into it if he wasn't careful. At this moment, her cell phone rang. Ningxi glanced at her phone and narrowed her eyes. Changli? Why did she call? Ningxi picked up the phone and said in a surprised tone, Hey Manager Chang, you're so busy every day that you have time to call me in person? When Changli heard the words busy, she was so angry that she almost bit her gums. In the past, Ning Xuelua was like the sun in the sky, so she was naturally very busy every day. However, since this incident, the number of movies and TV shows that Ning Xuelua was endorsing had all plummeted. Not only that, many of the companies that she had previously signed with had asked for compensation. Starlight also asked Ning Xuelua to keep a low profile for a period of time until this incident was over. Other than Ning Xuelua, none of her subordinates were successful. This meant that she would have to starve for the next 6 months. Changli snapped. I'm here to inform you to move out immediately. He had already broken his promise to terminate the contract with the company. Did he still want to occupy the company's property? Even if that area is rented out, it would cost at least 1,000 yuan a month. In a place like the imperial capital, the monthly rent was only a little more than 1,000. Was it worth showing off? Ningxi didn't have the time to talk nonsense with her. She said casually, Got it. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up. Before she hung up the phone, Changli began to criticize her aggressively. Ningxi, ask yourself, hasn't the company treated you well enough? Which company would arrange accommodation for an unknown newcomer these days? How many small-time artists can't get a job for months? At least you always have a job. The company was prepared to support you. Even if something like that happened to you, the company didn't give up on you. You, on the other hand, forget your roots, climb to a higher branch, and then trample on the company. Ningxi tutade. Agent Chang, you're getting better at distorting the truth. If you're so reasonable, why don't you go on the internet to reason things out? Changli was immediately choked. She had indeed gone online to say these things, but the result was that she was scolded badly by the netizens. Changli snorted unwillingly and sneered. Shengshi Entertainment is filled with big shots, and the competition is even fiercer than Starlight. Do you think you can make a name for yourself by jumping ship? What a joke. He's just a pawn used by Golden Era to attack Starlight. Do you really think that Golden Era thinks highly of you? Don't come crying to me when the time comes. After that, he hung up the phone with a loud bang. Ningxi shrugged and took a look at Lu Tingxiao beside her. Now we have something to do today. What? Just now Changli called and said that the house Xinghui arranged for me is going to be taken back. My things are still there. So I have to move. Chapter 240. Okay, let's go. Lu Tingxiao nodded and drove towards her apartment. Ningxi thought she had dodged a bullet. Seeing this, she said anxiously, I'll go by myself. I have a lot of things. I'll call a moving company for a truck. It doesn't matter. It can fit. Ningxi thought to herself that although his car was spacious, how could it fit so many things? Did he think he was Doraemon? But Lu Tingxiao looked so confident that she couldn't refute him. She could only let him drive all the way to the apartment. Forget it. It was safer for them to move together. At least it had nothing to do with the ambiguous atmosphere. When they arrived at the apartment, Ningxi pushed open the door. The room was covered with a layer of dust because it had been vacant for a long time. The window had been blown open and leaves had fallen on the ground. A cool autumn breeze blew in through the window. Lu Tingxiao's slender figure stood in the hallway. His cold eyes slowly swept over every corner of the room with a hint of warmth. What's wrong? Ningxi looked at him, puzzled. Nothing. Lu Tingxiao looked away. Although it was a small shabby house arranged by Xinghui for her, it contained their precious memories. Well, she would ask someone to buy the house later. What do you need me to do? Lu Tingxiao asked. Ningxi scratched her head, found a large empty box, and pointed to a row of tall bookshelves. You're tall. Can you help me put the books on the bookshelves? Okay. Lu Tingxiao rolled up his sleeves and was about to start. Ningxi looked at his clothes, which were more expensive than this apartment. She touched her forehead and said hurriedly, Wait a minute. Then she took out a doctor's white coat and stood in front of him. Take off your coat and put on this. It's dust-proof. Lu Tingxiao took off his coat and looked at the white coat in surprise. Where did you get it? The costume. A crew was so poor that they couldn't even afford the costume for the extras, so I bought one for myself. Ningxi said and put it on him. Fortunately, it's loose. After he finished speaking, he saw that Lu Tingxiao was stunned. He involuntarily swallowed his saliva and couldn't hide the surprise on his face. Lu Tingxiao looked so cool in a white coat. This was simply the temptation of a uniform. Damn it, even moving house isn't safe. What happened? Ningxi shook her head violently and came to her senses. It's okay. Let's start. I'm going to tidy up my clothes. Yes. Lu Tingxiao nodded. He looked at the girls fleeing back and began to tidy up the books on the shelf. Lu Tingxiao seemed to be doing things slowly, but in fact he was very fast and efficient. After a while he was almost done with his work. As he continued to move, a photo accidentally fell out of a Shakespeare anthology. Lu Tingxiao casually picked it up. In the photo was a group of young people, all dressed in punk and heavy metal outfits. Ningxi was in the middle. His hair was extremely short, and he was wearing a black motorcycle suit. He had an unbridled smile on his face, and he looked like a handsome boy. Her arm was casually placed on a man's shoulder, and she was talking to him with her head turned. Her posture looked very intimate, and she should be someone very familiar with him. As for the man, because he was turning his head to light the lighter, and the light was dim, it was hard to see his face clearly. Only a blurry profile could be seen. Chapter 241. His intuition told him that this person was YS, who Ningxi said knew he was dangerous, but still believed he would never hurt him. Lu Tingxiao stared at the man's profile for a long time. A thought flashed through his mind, but it flashed too quickly for him to grasp. Why did he feel that this person was somewhat familiar? Could it be someone he knew? Lu Tingxiao, I'm almost done here. Are you done? Ningxi dragged a large suitcase and turned her head to ask. Well, it's done. Lu Tingxiao put the photo back without batting an eyelid. 10 minutes later, Ningxi stood downstairs with many bags. Then, she finally understood why Lu Tingxiao was so sure that it could fit. A Lincoln limousine was quietly parked there. Hee hee, this inhumane world of the rich. Ningxi quickly lowered the brim of her hat, carefully put everything in as fast as she could, and then hurriedly urged the driver to drive. Because it happened so suddenly, she didn't have time to dress up. If she was photographed, it would definitely be big news. Big sister Gigi had instructed her to keep a low profile during this period of time, because she had already built up enough momentum. If she continued, it would be too much, and it would easily cause the public to dislike her. Lu Tingxiao seemed to see her worry and said, "Don't worry, the reporters will recognize the license plate number." In other words, he would never dare to provoke the owner of this car. All right. She had worried too much. The great Demon King always did things flawlessly. On the way to the new apartment, Lu Tingxiao suddenly called her, Ningxi. Ningxi, who was absent-mindedly thinking about something, suddenly raised her head. What's wrong? Lu Tingxiao propped up his forehead and looked at her deeply. I seem to remember you saying that if I want to pursue someone, you can teach me. Ningxi's mind buzzed and she cursed under her breath. Then she laughed dryly and said, Did I say that? No way. I did. He even said that he was guaranteed to teach her. On the day we went to your apartment to get the seasoning, you picked up 2 packages. One of them was a birthday gift from your ex-boyfriend. You said that his way of coaxing girls was too clumsy and that I shouldn't learn it. Lu Tingxiao reminded her of all the details. When Ningxi heard this, she really wanted to slap herself. Who asked you to speak too fast? Who asked you to spout nonsense? He was digging his own grave. Then you have a girl you want to chase now? Ningxi could only bite the bullet and ask. Yes. Lu Tingxiao nodded. His starry eyes looked at her, as if he was looking at the whole world. So teach me. Motherfucker. What the hell was she going to teach? As long as you look at any girl with that kind of gaze, they will scream and pounce on you. What was there to chase? He had no choice. He had to take back what he had said even if he cried. Ningxi could only cough lightly and put on an expression of ignorance. There's a popular saying on the internet. If she's inexperienced, take her to see the prosperity of the world. If her heart is full of vicissitudes, take her to ride the merry-go-round. The main idea was that they had to find the right medicine. What type of girl do you like? Lu Tingxiao paused as if he was thinking. After a long while, his cold eyes seemed to melt like ice and snow, and a trace of gentleness appeared at the corner of his mouth. She knows the ways of the world, but not the ways of the world. She is wild and unruly, but kind and gentle. She has experienced a lot, but she has always maintained a pure heart. She is the best girl I have ever seen. Chapter 242. Knowing the ways of the world but not knowing them, unruly but kind and gentle, experienced a lot but still maintained a pure and innocent heart. The best girl. Oh my young heart. Ningxi clutched her chest. Her heart was beating so fast that she almost collapsed. Who didn't like being praised? Moreover, Lu Tingxiao's compliment was so sincere and skillful. Every word poked at the softest part of her heart. Wasn't Lu Tingxiao supposed to be an aloof person who didn't care about worldly affairs? It didn't make sense for him to be so sweet. She looked at the devil who was still waiting for her to make a move. Ningxi really wanted to kneel down and kowtow to him 3 times to beg him to let her go. You're full of godly equipment. Do you still need me to carry you? Ningxi coughed lightly, speaking with the tone of an experienced person. Sir boss, forgive me for being blunt. But with your internal and external conditions and perception, you don't need me to teach you at all. If she isn't tempted by you, there's only one possibility. Lu Tingxiao put down his hand that was supporting his forehead and narrowed his eyes. What possibility? Ningxi took a deep breath and said resolutely, You're not her type. He's not her type? Along with these words came a gust of cold wind from the Arctic glacier. Ningxi swallowed her saliva, forced herself to bear the Demon King's sharp eyes, and nodded affirmatively. Yes, as the saying goes, everyone has their own preferences. Those who like carrots, no matter how perfect the vegetables are, will never like the vegetables. Lu Tingxiao tapped his fingers on the armrest. After 3 seconds of silence, he said faintly, What if I'm sure I'm a carrot? Ningxi. Holy shit. What do you mean you're a carrot? Are you so sure that I like you? Can you not be so quick-witted, then? Then maybe she already has another radish she likes? Every carrot has its own pit. Since there's already a carrot, There's no room for other carrots. Ningxi's lips twitched at her own analogy. Why did she use such a weird analogy like carrot for no reason? Other carrots that she likes. Lu Tingxiao pondered, and then his gaze sharpened. Ooh. At this moment, the cold wind had evolved into a tornado. Ningxi, who was in the center of the storm, felt that she couldn't hold on any longer. She pretended to look at the scenery and tried to move to the window. She smiled dryly and said, I don't know how to read fortunes. How would I know? In any case, I think it's safer for you to maintain the status quo. Otherwise, if the other party really has someone he likes, you can't even be friends anymore. Lu Tingxiao's thin lips were tightly pursed and his face was as cold as frost. He didn't say anything for a long time. The air pressure in the closed compartment was so low that it was as if hail was about to fall. Just when Ningxi was about to be suffocated by such an atmosphere, Lu Tingxiao finally spoke. He said, Then pull out that radish. Ningxi. Pull that radish. Big brother, do you need to use such frightening words? Originally he wanted to find a shield, but which shield could withstand a blow from the great demon king? It wasn't even enough to fill the gaps between his teeth. Oh no, communication failed again. Could it be that she could only use her ultimate move? Hopefully, I won't have to use that move. Changli crossed her arms in front of her chest and looked at her dirty clothes with disdain. Although it's not my house, it's not a place for people like you to come. Ningxi walked past her, entered the elevator, and pressed the close button. I'm sorry I live here. When Changli heard this, she stood there in a daze. She looked at the elevator as it closed and went up. Chapter 244. Ningxi lived here? How was that possible? But she had to swipe a card to enter and exit the estate. How did she get in? Changli mumbled to herself as she walked, and finally, she couldn't help but go to the front desk to ask. Xiaofeng, the girl who just went in is Ningxi? Is she a resident here? Changli asked. Xiaofeng said politely, Miss Chang, this is the privacy of the resident. We can't reveal it. You know how strict we are. Changli stuffed a shopping cart into her hand without batting an eyelid. Sister, do me a favor. I just want to know if she lives here. It's not a sensitive question. It won't affect you. Xiaofeng glanced at the shopping cart disdainfully. You usually order me around, but now that you have something to ask of me, you finally know how to be nice? He wanted to push it back, but changed his mind. He took the card and said, Yes, she lives here. She registered her information about half a month ago. Changli's eyes lit up. Who's the owner? Xiaofeng knew what she was thinking from her expression. He told her the truth. It's registered under the name of Shengshi Entertainment. The company must have arranged the accommodation for her. Changli was dumbfounded. What? Are you sure? She had thought that she could catch Ningxi's weakness, Xiaofeng said confidently. How could I be wrong? That suite is in the best position in the entire Pearl River Imperial View. It faces the Pearl River and has a great view. It was empty until half a month ago, when the staff of Shengshi Entertainment came to renovate the suite. Her information is on the Property Management Information Form. I see. Thank you. Changli hurried out with a dark face. Damn it, was Shengshi Entertainment crazy? How could they give Ningxi, a newcomer, such good treatment? She recalled what she had said to Ningxi not long ago. She had said how good the dormitory Xing Hui had arranged for her was, a slap to her own face. It seemed that she had to keep a close eye on Ningxi. She had to find out who was behind this bitch. With Lu Tingxiao's help, Ningxi finished what should have taken her a whole day in half a day. Seeing everything being tidied up neatly, her mood became better. Ever since she entered Golden Era, she had always felt that it was unreal. Now that she was looking at her future home, she finally felt that it was real. Ningxi took a new towel to wipe Lu Tingxiao's sweat and thanked him. Thank you for your hard work today. Let me treat you to a meal. In any case, Lu Tingxiao had been busy the whole day helping her move. It was necessary to at least treat him to a meal. Can you eat at home? Lu Tingxiao asked. Ningxi scratched her head. But But the stove hasn't been turned on yet. There's nothing there. I'm afraid I can't cook. It's okay. You don't have to do anything. I'm already very tired today. Lu Tingxiao made a phone call and said 2 words to the person on the other end of the phone. Come in. The next second, the doorbell rang. Ningxi opened the door suspiciously and was startled. 2 rows of people stood in an orderly manner outside the door, all of them wearing the same uniform and carrying all kinds of delicacies in their hands. The young man standing at the front was holding a large bouquet of fresh lilies. Lu Tingxiao walked over with strong steps and took the flowers from the young man's hands. He turned around and presented them to her. This is for you. Chapter 245. Ningxi blinked her eyes blankly at the large bouquet of white lilies and reflexively took it. Then the waiters filed in, laid out the tablecloth and placed the candlesticks. In just 5 minutes, an exquisite candlelit dinner was laid out. Then they bowed and left in a well-trained manner. So this was the meaning of whether Lu Tingxiao could eat at home. She thought he was going to cook at home. How naive. Just now, she saw the words Red Restaurant engraved on the waiters' uniforms. Red Restaurant was the most famous private restaurant in B City's aristocratic circle. There was only 1 table every day, and the number of people who ordered had already been queuing until next year. This restaurant also had a rule that they didn't accept orders. You had to eat whatever they made. Such a capricious restaurant, and Lu Tingxiao actually let them deliver food. Ningxi looked at the flowers and then at the candlelit dinner. This is clearly the standard for a confession? Ningxi whispered in horror. Lu Tingxiao deliberately sent Xiaobao away today and arranged all this in advance. He even asked her how to woo a girl. Was he really going to? The more she thought about it, the more panicked she became. The next second, her gaze landed on the dessert on the small shelf next to the table. Oh, could there be a proposal ring hidden in the cake? Cough, cough, cough. No way, no way. With Lu Tingxiao's personality, how could he have guessed it so easily? You don't like the dishes? Lu Tingxiao frowned and picked up his phone. I'll ask them to leave and serve again. Ningxi hurriedly waved her hand. No need, no need. It's all my favorite food. What I mean is, I should be the one treating you. Why are you treating me instead? Same. Lu Tingxiao said casually, then pulled out a chair for her like a gentleman. Ahem, thank you. Ningxi had to sit down. She took a closer look at Lu Tingxiao and noticed a detail. Logically speaking, today was his rest day, so he should be wearing casual clothes. But today, he was dressed very formally and for the first time, wore a bow tie. After sitting down, Ningxi realized that she was absent-minded and forgot to hold the flowers in her arms. So she hurriedly found a vase and put them in. Do you like it? Lu Tingxiao asked. What? Ningxi was stunned. Lily. I quite like it. Well, I think lily suits you better. Ningxi. Was he referring to the meaning of purity, or was he referring to the meaning of harmony for 100 years? Eat. Lu Tingxiao picked up some food for her with his chopsticks. Well, I'll do it myself. In order to cover up her nervousness, Ningxi began to bury herself in eating. When her stomach started to fill up, she finally realized that something was wrong. She held the half-eaten cake in her hand and looked at the man opposite her with a frown. Lu Tingxiao didn't eat much. Instead, he opened a bottle of wine and drank by himself. Moreover, the bottle was almost empty. Lu Tingxiao, why are you only drinking? Why are you drinking so much? I didn't even see you eat anything. Ugh. When Ningxi spoke, she still had a piece of cake in her mouth. As she spoke, she suddenly felt that she had bitten something hard. She hurriedly opened her mouth and spat it out. Damn, what the hell is this? My teeth are numb. Ding dong. A shiny ring fell onto the white porcelain plate in front of her. Chapter 246. Ningxi stared at the ring on the plate with her eyes wide open like a light bulb. She was completely stunned. Damn. Ning. You. This. Crow. Mouth. She actually hit the nail on the head. She had been on guard against it. She had always thought that the devil's way of picking up girls would be amazing and impossible to guard against. She had never expected that she would be caught in such an old-fashioned way. However, the final result was the same. It was still impossible to guard against. Was the great demon king doing the opposite on purpose? At this moment, what Ningxi regretted the most was that she hadn't swallowed the ring and destroyed the evidence. Under Ningxi's dull gaze, Lu Tingxiao drank up the last mouthful of wine in his glass, put down the glass, and looked at her with his deep eyes. I kept drinking because I was nervous. Ningxi. He was nervous? Who was the one who should be nervous? The coldness on Lu Tingxiao's face turned into a tipsy mist, but his dark eyes were clear. His cold voice was like raindrops falling into a cold pond. I never do things that I'm not sure about, but this time, I still did it. This may be the most impulsive thing I've ever done in my life, but I had no choice and no room for regret. Now whether I advance or retreat, you've decided to stay away from me. It's just a matter of time. From the first day I met you, I've been planning this day. I've made countless plans. But you're more and more afraid of me. For you now, those plans can only scare you, so I chose the most traditional and gentle way. When Ningxi heard the last sentence, she was speechless. The most gentle way. Thank you for being so considerate. But I was still scared to the point of peeing. Lu Tingxiao paused, then raised his head and continued. No matter which way I choose, I'm not confident that I can move you completely. Today's plan is the safest way I can think of, but the probability of success is only 17%. Ningxi, huh? What the hell was 17%? How in the world did he come up with this magical number? A cough that, out of her wits, Ningxi subconsciously reached for the wine, only to find that it had been drunk by Lu Tingxiao, so she poured herself a glass of juice and gulped it down. After putting down the cup with a bang, Ningxi finally found her voice. Lu Tingxiao, are you practicing how to confess to the girl you like? It's pretty good, pretty good. It's traditional yet classic, low-key yet doesn't lose its meaning. And the lines are sensational. Lu Tingxiao looked at the girl in front of him quietly. He pulled his chair back slightly and stood up. His long arm reached across the dining table and pinched her chin with his fingers. In the next second, he leaned forward and kissed her on the lips. Ningxi's voice stopped abruptly. 3 seconds later, before she could react, Lu Tingxiao pressed the back of her head and kissed her even more deeply. The room was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. There was only the sound of rapid breathing, the slight friction between their clothes, and the sound of their tongues intertwining. The temperature in the air quietly rose. After a long time, the kiss finally ended. Lu Tingxiao slowly left her lips, but his broad palm was still on the back of her neck, and his forehead was gently pressed against hers. Chapter 247. Ningxi closed her eyes, her eyelashes trembling, her voice a little hoarse. Lu Tingxiao, why don't you listen to me? Not long ago, she had just taught him to maintain the status quo and not to act rashly. In the end, he just turned around and directly proposed to her. What a trap. Teacher leads the way, cultivation depends on oneself. Lu Tingxiao's tone was actually very reasonable. Teacher never taught you to be a hooligan. But this is the only way to let you know that the person I like is teacher. Then you're offending your superior. That must be because teacher is too cute. Lu Tingxiao pressed his forehead against hers, his large palm holding her slender fingers over his heart. His cold eyes at this moment were like a volcano at this moment. His tone was like a bewitching spell. Teacher, be with me, everything I have is yours. Stop talking. Ningxi's mind was in a mess. Especially when he called her teacher, there was a strange sense of shame. She tried to cover her ears, but it was still a step too late. Lu Tingxiao continued. Xiaobao is also yours. Ningxi's pupils suddenly contracted. Lu Tingxiao quietly observed her reaction. Seeing that she was staring at him with her eyes wide open, the corners of his mouth slightly curved up. His palm was like playing with a cat, gently pinching the sensitive tender flesh on the back of her neck. What's the percentage now? Ningxi covered her face and subconsciously answered, half and half. The moment she finished speaking, she couldn't wait to bite off her tongue. Damn. Lu Tingxiao, you're too shameless. You even use Xiaobao. Xiaobao is my natural advantage. How can you say it's used? Then what about you using your beauty on me? Ningxi was filled with righteous indignation. She wanted to get rid of this position where she was completely under his control. But Lu Tingxiao clearly didn't use any force to hurt her. But no matter how she struggled, she couldn't get rid of him. I used it. Lu Tingxiao said innocently. Fine, you're useless, I'm a lecher. Ugh. Lu Tingxiao. Ningxi was in the midst of her anger when she suddenly felt that something was wrong. Ningxi paled as she held her stomach. My stomach hurts. What? Where does it hurt? Lu Tingxiao's expression immediately became serious. Stomach. I can't take it anymore. It's getting more and more painful. Ningxi's forehead was sweating. What's going on? Why did he suddenly have a stomachache? Is there something wrong with the dish? Ningxi coughed lightly. Well, I don't think so. I think maybe I'm bloated. I felt something wrong with my stomach when I drank a large glass of orange juice. Only then did Lu Tingxiao realize that she had almost finished all the dishes on the table, not to mention that she had drunk such a large glass of juice. He said angrily, Ningxi, are you an idiot? Don't you feel bloated after eating so much? Ningxi was even angrier than him. It's all because of you. I was so scared by you that I kept eating to calm myself down. You even drank all the wine by yourself and didn't leave a drop for me. I can only drink orange juice. How dare you scold me? After saying that, he clutched his stomach and howled even more miserably. Lu Tingxiao immediately calmed down and comforted her. It's my fault. I'll send you to the hospital right away. Chapter 248. Ningxi looked embarrassed. I don't think so. It's so embarrassing to go to the hospital in the middle of the night, because you ate too much. Is your reputation more important than your health? Lu Tingxiao took out his wallet and cell phone and quickly picked her up by her waist. Ningxi immediately waved her hand. Ugh. Lu Tingxiao. No, change positions, you'd better help me walk slowly. This position is more uncomfortable. You? Lu Tingxiao was angry and distressed. He could only put her down and help her walk out carefully. When they arrived at the emergency room, Ningxi's clothes and hair were all wet with sweat. In addition, Ningxi had been covering her belly, and Lu Tingxiao looked as if the sky was about to collapse. A nurse immediately came up to help Ningxi. Are you going to give birth? Hurry. Get on the trolley. Ningxi pulled up her mask to avoid being recognized. She then explained with a frown. No, sister nurse. I'm too full. The nurse was speechless for a second. She looked down at her belly and found that it was only slightly protruding. She didn't look like a pregnant woman at all. Please go to the left for gastric problems. Thank you. In the middle of the night, Ningxi's diagnosis finally came out after a lot of trouble. Acute gastritis caused by overeating and stress in a short period of time. Lu Tingxiao touched the girl's pale cheek on the hospital bed, his face full of heartache. Does it still hurt? Ningxi nodded bitterly. It hurts, but it's a little better than before. Lu Tingxiao, there's something else. What is it? Tell me. Ningxi hesitated for a moment and said awkwardly. My gums seem to have been scratched by the ring. I didn't feel it just now, but it hurts so much now. Lu Tingxiao touched his forehead and ruffled her hair, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Wait for me. I'll buy some medicine for you. Okay. After Lu Tingxiao left, Ningxi let out a long sigh of relief, and then touched her own round belly. She didn't expect her stomach to be so strong at such a critical moment. But the feeling of being full was really uncomfortable. She didn't want to experience it a second time in her life. There was a period of time when she was too busy and did not eat on time for a long period of time. In the end, there was a time when she suddenly had acute gastritis in the middle of the night. The only difference was that at that time, she couldn't get a cab in the middle of the night. So she rode her motorcycle all the way to the hospital. She registered herself, got her medicine, and sat on the cold bench in the corridor to get in 4 drip. Lu Tingxiao soon returned. He took the medicine and sat down on the edge of the bed. Then he opened the bottle and said with a serious expression, This pill is for external application. Open your mouth and I'll stick it on your wound. Ningxi obediently opened her mouth, accidentally touched her tongue, and then she frowned. Bitter. Bear with it for a while. Don't touch it. Oh. After applying the medicine on her wound, Lu Tingxiao looked at her tenderly and murmured softly, "Teacher." Ningxi was taken aback. It took her a while to realize that he was calling her. Ah. I'm sorry. Lu Tingxiao sighed in self-reproach, then picked up her hand and gently kissed the back of her hand. It's all my fault for not being skilled enough to let you get hurt. Ningxi's heart skipped a beat. Oh no. 60%. 61%. 62%. 63%. It's still increasing. Thump thump thump. How was it not skilled enough? He was clearly a top student. Chapter 249. Ningxi shook her head and quickly ended the dangerous and ambiguous topic of teacher and student. Then she switched to the status of a small employee, raised her hand and said seriously, "Boss, I would like to apply for a period of time without interference." Lu Tingxiao thought for a while and agreed readily. "That's approved. How many days do you need?" Ningxi looked at her fingers and asked weakly, "Well, can it be a year?" "I'll give you 7 days." Lu Tingxiao ignored her unreasonable request and made the decision. "Okay, 7 days it is. Can I stay in the apartment for the time being after I leave the hospital tomorrow? You just promised me no interference. Xiaobao is not at home these days, and I have to go to the company the day after tomorrow. It's better to stay in the apartment." Ningxi tried to explain the reason. "Okay." Lu Tingxiao nodded without hesitation. "Oh. Wow, so easy to persuade?" She was not used to it when he suddenly stopped teasing her. Ningxi narrowed her eyes and showed a sly expression. She seemed to have found the most effective way to deal with the devil. The trick of injuring oneself to gain sympathy? Was it because the doctor told her not to be too stressed? Sigh, it was because she cared so much that the trick of injuring oneself to gain sympathy was so effective. Thinking of this, the value in her heart suddenly rose to 80%. The next day. Fortunately, Ningxi's condition was not serious, and she was discharged from the hospital in the morning. Lu Tingxiao sent her to the apartment as promised. On the way, he went to the supermarket and helped her fill up the fridge. He also ordered takeout for her 3 meals a day, and repeatedly reminded her of the recent food precautions. Sitting on the sofa, Ningxi saw Lu Tingxiao busy checking the fridge, and still standing there to see if he had missed anything. She couldn't help but cough lightly. "Lu Tingxiao, don't bother. I can take care of myself." Lu Tingxiao turned and walked to her. "I'm leaving." Although he said that, he still looked worried as if she were a 3-year-old who could not take care of herself at all. Ningxi tried to calm down. "Okay. Is there really nothing wrong with your body?" No, my stomach doesn't hurt at all. My body recovers very quickly." "Well, that's good." Lu Tingxiao's eyes darkened, and he nodded with satisfaction. Ningxi. There was nothing wrong with what he said, but why did she feel like she was being teased? While she was lost in thought, Lu Tingxiao suddenly leaned toward her, but before he could get close, he straightened up and retreated. He reached out and rubbed her head. "I won't disturb you." Ningxi. "You. Already. Sutra. Fuck. Disturb. Yes." She finally understood that even if this guy didn't do anything, just his existence alone was a kind of interference. After seeing Lu Tingxiao off, Ningxi finally relaxed completely. Hugging a pillow, she lay on the sofa in a daze. Recalling everything that happened these days, in the end, things still came to this. Although he had a premonition and was prepared, when it really came to this, his mind still went blank and he was completely flustered. She gave herself 0 points for this performance. In fact, her initial plan was to say some decisive words to make Lu Tingxiao give up. However, when she looked at that face, she couldn't say a single word. Instead, her resolute heart began to waver. She was slowly considering changing what she thought was impossible. No wonder there were so many incapable rulers in ancient times. Her beauty was truly misleading. Chapter 250. The next morning, in Lin Gigi's office at Shengshi Entertainment. Sister Gigi, I'm not late, am I? Ningxi had rested in the apartment for a whole day yesterday, and her body had almost recovered, but she still looked a little haggard. For this reason, she was wearing a bold and fashionable dress today, which brightened her skin and made her look youthful and energetic. In front of the desk, Lin Gigi was working on some documents with her hair in a bun as usual. She looked at Ningxi and then raised her head. Don't be nervous. I don't have anything important to tell you today. I just want to show you around the company before we start filming tomorrow. Although you don't spend much time in the company, you still need to know the basic structure of the company. Okay, thank you, Sister Gigi. Let's go. Ningxi nodded and followed her. Under Lin Gigi's guidance, she learned about the various departments of the company and got to know the new colleagues. No matter what they thought, they were all polite to her on the surface. Even if they had a tacit understanding that this was a game between Shengshi and Starlight, and Ningxi was just a way for Shengshi to attack Starlight, it was also an indisputable fact that Shengshi was going to promote Ningxi. No one would look for trouble when Ningxi was in the limelight. TSK, this Ningxi is even more beautiful than in the photos. No wonder second young master likes her so much. I have a feeling that as long as her EQ is not too low, she will definitely be popular in the future. That's not necessarily true. Lung Manyan is finally gone. Do you think anyone can tolerate her popularity? Besides, can she get along with Lin Gigi? Doesn't Lin Gigi hate those who use their beauty to get to the top? The company was quite large. Ningxi followed Lin Gigi for more than an hour before they finished the tour. When they were about to go to some of the filming sites and recording studios, they bumped into someone in the corridor. Hey, isn't this our manager Lin? You finally came out? I thought you were ready to retire from the industry. The woman who spoke was in her 30s. She was dressed in sexy and fashionable clothes, with wavy hair and delicate makeup. She looked even prettier than a celebrity. She often appeared in newspapers and magazines, and Ningxi had seen her from afar several times during filming, so she immediately recognized her as Zhao Meixin. Facing Zhao Meixin's provocative words, Lin Gigi didn't even frown. She said expressionlessly, Sister Meixin, you are still working hard, and we can't fall behind you. You. Zhao Meixin was furious. Ningxi tried hard not to laugh. She thought that Lin Gigi looked old-fashioned and serious, but she didn't expect that she had such a sharp tongue. Zhao Meixin clenched her teeth and coldly snorted. Lin Gigi, although I didn't think highly of you in the past, I have no choice but to admit that you do have some ability. You were able to raise Lung Manyan's mediocre looks to such a height, but now, speaking of this, Zhao Meixin deliberately paused and glanced at Ningxi with a mean and disdainful look. After Lung Manyan left, you found such a good-for-nothing vase except scandals and a pretty face? I remember you hate artists who rely on their looks the most. Why? Have you fallen too? Chapter 251. Ningxi narrowed her eyes when she heard this. This wasn't the first time she had heard from others that Lin Gigi hated artists like her. It was impossible to say that she didn't care about it at all. After all, she was going to fight with her in the future. If they didn't agree with each other from the start, how could they continue working together? Lin Gigi naturally noticed the flash of worry in Ningxi's eyes. She looked at Zhao Meixin and said unhurriedly, Sister Meixin seems to have some misunderstanding about me. As everyone knows in this industry, being good-looking is a gift from God. It's something that others can't even dream of. Why should I hate it? What I hate is a vase that has nothing but looks but no substance. Everyone loves beauty. I think Sister Mei Xian, you should be able to understand this, right? Zhao Meixin's expression changed when she heard the last sentence. What did she mean by she could understand? She was clearly mocking her. She was originally an actress, but because she wasn't good-looking enough, she switched to being a manager. She paid attention to her image and often went for beauty treatments and microsurgery. Damn Lin Gigi. She didn't usually speak, but every time she did, she would stab at her. A dog that bites doesn't bark. You're so sure that she's not a vase? Zhao Meixin sneered. Yes or no? Let the work speak for itself. Sister Meishin can't judge based on appearance. Lin Jiji walked past her and left. You. Zhao Meishin stomped her feet in anger. After a short confrontation, Ningxi's gloominess was swept away and she skipped happily behind Lin Jiji. Sister Jiji, you were so handsome just now. It gave me a sense of security. But don't worry, I'm definitely not a vase. Even if I'm a vase, it's at least a blue and white porcelain from the Qing dynasty. Beauty and capability coexist. Lin Jiji glanced at her and curled her lips slightly. It's not enough to just talk. The filming crew will start tomorrow. I'll accompany you then. Besides, it's not just me. The filming crew has also opened up for media visits. There will be a lot of reporters. I've already sent you the latest script and shooting plan. You should know that you have an important scene that day. It's a test of your acting skills. This is your first battle, so you must prepare well. In fact, during this period of time, she had studied Ningxi's resume and some of her works, and found that this girl's acting skills were really good. She just had to wait for tomorrow's scene. Got it. I'll do my best. As Ningxi spoke, she secretly sized up Lin Jiji, who seemed reliable no matter how she looked at it. The more she thought about it, the more regretful she felt. How could a woman like Sister Jiji fall for that unreliable golden retriever Jiang Mai? Because Lin Jiji had other things to do, Xiao Tao stayed with Ningxi. Xiao Tao had a lively personality. She talked nonstop along the way, and Ningxi heard a lot of gossip about the company from her. Sigh, now that Sister Mannion is gone, Su Yimo and Zhao Meishin will be the happiest. Now they have no more competitors. Although Su Yimo was more famous than Sister Mannion, what did she act in? They were all rubbish commercial films. Although Sister Mannion's films were mostly artistic films, she had won so many international awards. Her status was simply crushing hers, alright? There was no other way. Who asked her to have such a strong backing? You're obviously not strong enough, but you're still shamelessly occupying the position of the #1 sister of the Golden Age. Is Su Yimo's backing very strong? Ningxi asked. Of course. Don't you know Sister Shi? Xiao Tao looked surprised. Then she moved closer to her ear and said mysteriously, Su Yimo's backing is our boss Lu. Chapter 252. Of course. Sishi, don't you know? Xiao Tao looked surprised. Then she moved closer to her ear and said mysteriously, Su Yimo's backer is our boss Lu. Boss Lu? Lu Jingli? Ningxi's first reaction was Lu Jingli. It was clear that Lu Jingli had no integrity in her heart. Xiao Tao shook her head fiercely and pointed up with her finger. She meant Lu Jingli's superior. This time, Ningxi was a little surprised. She raised her eyebrows. Lu Tingxiao. Xiao Tao nodded like a chick pecking rice. Then she looked around nervously. Keep your voice down, as long as you know what's going on. Ningxi touched her chin. But why hasn't there been any news of such explosive gossip? Who would dare to pull out the big boss to create hype? So only the people inside our company know about this. Xiao Tao explained. I see. Before Ningxi could ask for more details, Xiao Tao couldn't help but start gossiping. At first, Su Yimo was just a second or third tier person. There were many people more famous than her. In the end, I don't know how she hooked up with our big boss and gained his favor. All of a sudden, all of the company's resources were placed in front of her for her to choose from. She rose to the top like a rocket. The more Xiao Tao spoke, the angrier she became. She said indignantly, Our sis Mannion worked hard for 10 years to get to where she is today, but she was suppressed by her. It's so unfair. Ningxi listened to Xiao Tao's story and knew that it must be true. She just didn't know what her relationship with Lu Tingxiao was, although Xiao Tao didn't say it clearly from her tone. It seemed like they had slept together? However, with Ningxi's understanding of Lu Tingxiao, she naturally wouldn't completely believe Xiao Tao's gossip. Xiao Tao, who was talking nonstop, suddenly realized that it was inappropriate for her to be so arrogant. She hurriedly comforted her. Ahem, but sis Shi, your backer is also very powerful. Our second young master personally poached you. Although Xiao Tao said that, there was actually a hint of disappointment in her tone. She was originally Lung Manyun's assistant. This time, She was transferred to Ning Shi's side with Lin Jiji. In the past, when she was with Lung Manyan, she was respected wherever she went. But compared to Lung Manyan, Ning Shi was just a newcomer. As Ning Shi's assistant, she couldn't help but feel a little unbalanced when she thought that she would have to bow down to Su Yimo's agent and assistant in the future. How could Ning Shi not see the disappointment on Xiao Tao's face? However, Xiao Tao's reaction was understandable, so she didn't take it to heart. However, she couldn't just let Su Yimo's problem go. After all, this was a crucial 7 days for her, and any small detail could affect her decision. So Ning Shi didn't waste time guessing. She directly took out her mobile phone and sent a WeChat message to Lu Tingxiao. What is your relationship with Su Yimo? At the same time, at the Lu group, in the conference room, Lu Tingxiao was in the middle of a meeting. Suddenly his phone rang. Lu Tingxiao continued to listen to his subordinate's report while he casually opened it. Then, all of his subordinates in the room saw a scene that was rarely seen in 1,000 years. Their boss, who almost never smiled in the company, actually looked at his phone, and his brows slowly relaxed. Then he let out a low laugh. Chapter 253. The meeting is adjourned. Lu Tingxiao walked out of the conference room with his phone. Ning Shi was waiting for Lu Tingxiao's reply, but she didn't expect him to call her back directly, which startled her. Thus, Ning Shi informed Xiao Tao and quickly found an empty corner to answer the phone. Hello. I saw your message. Lu Tingxiao sounded like he was in a good mood. Ning Shi scratched the tiles on the wall with her nails. Oh. She didn't think much of it when she sent the message, but why did she feel that something was wrong now? Are you jealous? Lu Tingxiao's deep and hoarse voice came from the other end. Cough, cough, cough. Ning Shi coughed violently and said angrily, Who's jealous? I just thought it was necessary to understand the interpersonal relationships in the company, so I asked casually. Damn it. No wonder she felt that something was wrong. It really made people think that she was jealous. Since it's just a casual question, I refuse to answer, Lu Tingxiao said. Huh? Ning Shi was dumbfounded. She had never thought that Lu Tingxiao would be so childish. What do I have to do to make you tell me? Lu Tingxiao said. Remember my question. Which question? Was she jealous? Actually, when he heard Xiao Tao's ambiguous speculations and heard her linking Lu Tingxiao with another woman, he indeed felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. But how could she admit it? Ning Shi pursed her lips and said indifferently, If you don't want to answer, I'll just take it that you're having an affair with Su Yimo. Do you know that I can deduct your score from 0 to 0? Lu Tingxiao sighed and compromised. Don't worry, it's fine. You don't have to worry about her in the company. Then why do people say that you're Su Yimo's backer? Didn't you order people to give Su Yimo a lot of resources? Ning Shi didn't understand. I'm your backer, Lu Tingxiao replied. Ning Shi blushed and said seriously, Speak properly. Don't flirt with her. Lu Tingxiao chuckled. Ha, don't laugh either. Lu Tingxiao finally stopped teasing her. He coughed lightly and replied, I did give the order, but I'm innocent. I gave the order because she saved Xiaobao's life. What? What happened to Xiaobao? Ning Shi immediately asked nervously. Previously, in order to let Xiaobao interact with more people, I tried to send him to school. In the end, he lost control of his emotions and ran out. He was almost hit by a car that didn't dodge in time. Fortunately, another car suddenly rushed out and knocked that car away, saving Xiaobao's life. We found out that the person in the car was Su Yimo. She rushed over because she was drunk and accidentally saved Xiaobao. Ning Shi was dumbfounded. Damn. I didn't know if Su Yimo or Xiaobao was lucky. So in order to repay him you gave that order? She could understand why Lu Tingxiao wanted to repay her. Even if Su Yimo had saved Xiaobao by accident, she had still saved him. Yes. TSK, he really did save Xiaobao's life. Why didn't you marry me then? Lu Tingxiao's words instantly killed him. Do you think I'll devote myself to just anyone? Chapter 254. As if that wasn't enough, Lu Tingxiao mercilessly added, How many points do you have now? I can't tell you. Do you think I'm stupid? I'm hanging up. My assistant is still waiting for me. Ningxi quickly hung up. What a sad day. She really shouldn't have had any contact with Lu Tingxiao. On the other side, Lu Tingxiao had just called Ningxi. Before the smile on his face faded away, a big face suddenly came over and said in a resentful tone, "Brother, tell me the truth, are you hiding something from me?" Lu Tingxiao didn't deny it and raised his eyebrows. Is it obvious? Lu Jingli was so shocked that he almost rolled on the ground. Oh, you're hiding something from me. I'm your brother, your most capable assistant, your sweetheart. You're hiding something from me. Aren't you very good at guessing? Hey, I'm just guessing. Lu Jingli paced back and forth in the room. 3 minutes later he suddenly stopped and looked at him. The day before yesterday you deliberately sent Xiaobao away. At that time there were only 2 days before Ningxi started work. In order to catch up, she would be very busy, which meant that you didn't have much time left. So, you must have done something big in these 2 days. Something big. Is it a confession? Lu Tingxiao said, go on. It seemed that he had guessed correctly. Lu Jingli's eyes lit up, and he continued to speculate. What about the result of the confession? It probably didn't work out. Otherwise, how could you still be in the company now? You must be in bed. Lu Tingxiao. Finally, Lu Jingli snapped his fingers and came to a conclusion in a confident tone. There is only one truth. You confessed. Little Cece didn't say yes, but she didn't reject you either. She's considering it, and the possibility of her giving you a positive answer is very high. That's why you're in such a good mood. Lu Tingxiao looked at his brother's spirited expression, and there was an imperceptible softness in the corner of his mouth. He was cold by nature and was not good at getting along with other people. Even his relationship with his biological parents was very weak. Only this younger brother of his was avoided and feared by others. Only this younger brother of his was always around him. His face was always cold, but he never cared nor was he angry. He did not like to talk, so he could only guess his brother's thoughts. Moreover, he could accurately guess his brother's thoughts. He thought he was lucky enough. He didn't expect that he would meet Ningxi again. The next day, from midsummer to early autumn, the crew of Under the Heavens finally restarted filming after many twists and turns. Because of the change of the script, Ning Xuelua and Zhao Xizhou's scenes were cut a lot. Ning Xuelua and Ningxi originally had 3 scenes together, but now they were all deleted, which meant that Ningxi would not meet Ning Xuelua on the set in the following shooting process, which saved her a lot of trouble. She could finally concentrate on shooting. Today they were going to shoot 2 important scenes between Ningxi and Jiang Mai. Not only did Ningxi's agent, Lin Jiji, come, but Jiang Mai's agent, Lei Ming, also came in person. It could be seen how important these 2 scenes were. Ningxi and Jiang Mai arrived almost at the same time. Hello, Senior Marshal Brother Jiang. Ningxi greeted him sweetly and cleverly changed the way she addressed him from Senior Jiang to Senior Marshal Brother Jiang. And hello, Junior Sister. Looking at Ningxi's obedient look, Jiang Mai shivered and got goosebumps. Then he inadvertently glanced at Lin Jiji, who was standing beside Ningxi. Chapter 255. Lin Jiji was talking to Lei Ming and didn't notice Jiang Mai's gaze at all. Then she turned to Ningxi and said, Ningxi, I have something to discuss with Brother Ming. You and your senior brother have a good time. Okay, Sister Jiji. You can go now. After Ningxi waved her hand and sent Lin Ji away, she immediately turned into a little devil. She stared at Jiang Mai and said, Tut tut, golden hair, did you see that just now? I felt sad for Sister Jiji for so long after I knew she was your ex-girlfriend. I was worried that she would be embarrassed when you 2 met, but she didn't even look at you. So cool. I like Sister Jiji more and more. Jiang Mai gnashed his teeth and glared at her. Who told you that she was my ex-girlfriend? Ningxi blinked. Didn't you say it yourself? Get lost. I didn't say a word about it. You were the one who gossiped. It's your fault for being so easily misunderstood. Ningxi complained. Then she became more curious. Since she's not your ex-girlfriend, what's your relationship? Why are you so afraid of her? When was I afraid of her? Ning Xiaoxi, can you stop thinking like that? Jiang Mai was about to break down. In order to get information out of him, Ning Shi softened her voice and comforted him. Okay, I won't think too much. Tell me, what's going on? What else could it be? It's just that she used to be my manager. Jiang Mai flipped through the script and said impatiently. Ning Shi's eyes widened in surprise. No way. Sister Gigi used to be your manager? She used to be your manager? Jiang Mai rolled his eyes at her. What's wrong? Can't I? What kind of expression was that? Ning Shi shook her head and sighed. She's even more pitiful than being your ex-girlfriend. Everyone in the industry knew how wild Jiang Mai was. None of his assistants worked for more than a week. Lei Ming's agent hadn't been replaced for such a long time. Although Lei Ming was burly and strong and looked a little fierce, he had a very good character and was very patient. That was why he could stay with Jiang Mai for so long. After knowing that Lin Jiji and Jiang Mai didn't have that kind of relationship, Ningxi was relieved. Otherwise, this triangle relationship would be really awkward. At this time, Xiao Tao directed someone to move a super luxurious recliner over. Sister Shi, you can sit here. In the crew, this kind of reclining chair could only be enjoyed by one woman, one man, one woman, or those actors with high status. Ningxi used to squat in the corner and sit on a small stool, or at most a chair. She didn't expect that one day she would have such a treatment. Thank you, Xiao Tao. Ningxi thanked her. Although Xiao Tao had always felt that it was a pity that Leng Manyan had left the industry and wasn't too satisfied with her current assignment, she was still quite diligent when it came to work. Do you want to rehearse? Ningxi raised the script and asked, resolutely carrying out her manager's order. Right my ass. I didn't sleep at all last night. I need to catch up on sleep. Don't disturb me. Jiang Mai said and covered his face with the script and fell asleep. Ningxi silently lit a candle for Lei Ming and then rejoiced for Lin Jiji. Fortunately, she had escaped from the abyss of suffering. Chapter 256. Jiang Mai kept his eyes closed even when he was putting on makeup. He slept until the shooting began. Director Guo had already asked everyone to get into position, but he was still sleeping. Ningxi couldn't bear it anymore and kicked his chair. Only then did Jiang Mai slowly wake up. The scene they were going to shoot today was a fight scene on the battlefield. After Meng Changa's brother was killed by the incompetent concubine Xian, the little overlord grew up overnight. He put on armor and went to the battlefield, beginning a long military career. The general's mansion was in great changes, and Chang'an City was no longer the little overlord. After Meng Chang'e left, Sun Huanqing finally saw through his feelings. He followed Meng Chang'e to the battlefield and became a military doctor. Usually, the script was shot according to the setting and not according to the plot. Therefore, today's scene was directly skipped to 7 years later. Meng Chang'e had made great achievements in battle, even surpassing her father and brother. Under the instigation of the treacherous officials and concubine Xian, the incompetent emperor began to fear Meng Chang'e. He repeatedly asked her to hand over the military power and marry the incompetent 12th prince to restrain her. Meng Chang'e naturally refused to comply. So in a war, she experienced the same experience as her brother. She was not defeated by the enemy, but was trapped by her own people. The enemy was in front of them, but they didn't have enough food and fodder, and the reinforcements didn't come. They were in a desperate situation. Finally, it was the last battle of life and death. On the set, all the staff were in position, and so were the visiting reporters. The most nervous one was director Guo Qixing. If something went wrong this time, he would really kill himself. He was not worried about Ningxi, but Jiang Mai was still sleeping when the shooting was about to start. He seemed to be in a bad state, which really worried him. Alas! Okay. All departments, get ready. Start. Ningxi was discussing with her assistant Xiao Tao what to eat for lunch. The moment Guo Qixing shouted, the look in her eyes changed. The battlefield was full of corpses, and there were less than 100 people left. Meng Chang'e was covered in blood. Her eyes were scarlet, and her face was full of murderous intent. She was like a walking weapon, ready to kill anything. Just as she was about to be ambushed from behind due to exhaustion, a thin man dressed in green suddenly rushed over and reminded her loudly, "Chang'e, be careful." With the man's warning, Meng Chang'e narrowly dodged the sneak attack. But when he saw who it was, he instantly flew into a rage and grabbed the man's collar with his blood-stained hand. "Damn it! Who allowed you to come here? Get lost!" Sun Huanqing's face was resolute. "I'm not leaving. If we're going to die, let's die together." Meng Chang'e threw him away heavily, his face full of mockery and disdain. "I told you to get lost, so get lost. You're just a pretty boy who doesn't even have the strength to truss a chicken. What right do you have to die with me?" Sun Huanqing stood up, covered in dust. With a flick of his silver needle, he pierced a person's throat. Blood splattered all over his handsome and fair face. At this moment, his eyes did not have the compassion of a doctor, only murderous intent. "And now?" he asked, with a look of obstinate determination. Meng Chang'e turned his head away, his expression conflicted. At this moment, countless complex emotions flashed across Ningxi's face. Finally, she sighed heavily. "You forget it if you want to come, then come. But don't expect me to be distracted to protect you." Jiang Mai stretched out his hand and slowly wiped away the blood on Ningxi's face. His expression was gentle and affectionate. In this bloody battlefield full of gunpowder, he looked like a blooming white lotus. "Chang'e, I am your man. I should protect you." Chapter 257. He passed it in one take. The audience burst into thunderous applause, and the reporters clapped with all their might. This scene had both action scenes and emotional scenes. It was very complicated. No one had expected to pass it in one take, so they were both surprised and delighted. "Oh my God! Jiang Mai is so handsome. I thought his image would be ruined by playing a weak doctor. What a surprise!" Yes, Jiang Mai's image has been subverted. I feel that his acting has improved tremendously this time. I don't care who the male lead is now. I just want to see Dr. Sun's scenes. Especially that last sentence, "I'm your man." It's simply too heartfelt, isn't it? So affectionate. I think so too. In the past, when Jiang Mai said such sensational lines to the female lead, I always felt that something was missing. Now I know it's feelings. Jiang Mai is acting with feelings this time. Guo Qixing was so excited that he almost cried. He hugged the assistant director. So touched. I didn't expect it to be so smooth. The reaction of the reporters was also very good. It was a good start. In the resting area, Jiang Mai snorted proudly. "What do you think? I told you there would be no problem. All of you only know how to worry for nothing." Ningxi snorted disdainfully. "That's because I'm the one acting with you. If it were someone else, you would be stuck at least 20 times. Do you believe it? Don't flatter yourself. If it were someone else, I would be stuck at most 19 times." Jiang Mai said carelessly. Of course, he was so carefree because he knew the other party was Ningxi. Did he think he was stupid? Ningxi's greatest ability was not only to keep the scene under control, but also to bring the other party into the scene and pass it in one take. "Tiske Ning Xiaoxi, your skill is really perverted. You're the perverted one." While the two of them were making fun of each other, Lei Ming and Lin Jiji came in. Lei Ming was also very excited. He happily poured drinks and food for Jiang Mai. "Not bad, Mai, you did a great job today. It was totally beyond my expectation. You have to keep it up." Seeing that Jiang Mai was praised, Ningxi was unhappy. She looked at Lin Jiji like a kid begging for candy. "Sister Jiji, what about me? What about me?" Although Lin Jiji was not as excited as Lei Ming, she looked quite satisfied. "Very good, but don't let your guard down. Your highlight is the next round." "Got it." Ningxi was already very satisfied and happy to get the 3 words, "very good." Jiang Mai cast a sidelong glance at Lin Jiji, turned his head away, and whispered, "I didn't expect that the tigress would become so gentle after a few years. I've never seen you so gentle to me before." At this moment, Lin Jiji finally looked at him and said expressionlessly, "Put yourself in my shoes. If you were me at that time, Would you be gentle to yourself? Jiang Mai choked. Fuck. Was he really that much of a bastard back then? It seemed like he was quite a hoodlum. And he was still a hoodlum. Thinking about it carefully, if he were Lin Jiji, he would also want to beat himself up. At this time, all the reporters outside were anxious to interview Ningxi and Jiang Mai, but they were all stopped by the director, who said that there would be enough time for interviews after the shooting. Only then did everyone quiet down. Chapter 258. After a short break, the second scene began. Why was this scene the highlight of the show? Because it was the most torturous scene in the whole show, the climax of the whole show, and the turning point before Meng Chang'e entered the palace for revenge. This turning point was crucial, directly related to Meng Chang'e's character setting in the second half of the show and the audience's perception of Meng Chang'e. Due to the huge difference in strength between the two armies, Meng Chang'e still lost this battle. She watched as her assistant, who had risked his life for her, was beheaded and trampled on by the enemy. She watched as her beloved brother was beheaded and humiliated on the tip of a sword. She was separated from Sun Huanqing in the battle, and when she went to find him, she saw Sun Huanqing's heart being pierced by thousands of arrows. She didn't even have time to say goodbye. Huanqing, the last string in Meng Chang'e's heart, was completely broken. She was so angry that her eyes almost popped out of their sockets, and she rushed over. She sat on the ground, looking at the corpse in her arms that was full of sharp arrows, and let out a desperate scream. Ah! 2 streams of tears rolled down her blood-stained cheeks. Ningxi's instantaneous explosive power was shocking, and everyone present was brought into the scene, their hearts wrenching. The next second, Meng Chang'e raised her sword and madly fought with the remaining enemies. Because Meng Chang'e's momentum was too fierce, although there were many enemies, they also became timid. In the end, almost 100 people were killed by her one by one. Ningxi didn't use a martial arts substitute for this scene, but personally went into battle. Her emotions were on point, and her movements were very beautiful, showing a beautiful sense of heroism. The battle finally ended, and she was the only one left alive on the vast battlefield. The entire battlefield was covered in blood, layers of corpses, and tattered flags fluttered in the wind. Meng Chang'e was on the verge of collapse. He clutched his chest and knelt down on one knee, panting in exhaustion. After the great sorrow and anger, she slowly put her lover's head on her knees and wiped the dirt off his face, her expression emotionless. Ningxi's silence during this period was for the purpose of interspersing the memories between the two of them in the subsequent editing. Ningxi's expression was layered so that even if there was no memory, this silence was not abrupt. Instead, the audience followed the subtle changes in her expression and recalled the bits and pieces since she met Sun Huanqing. A moment later, the memories came to an abrupt end. Meng Chang'e's empty eyes suddenly stared into the distance. That one glance seemed to have passed through the battlefield, through the snowy mountains and grasslands, through the vast desert, all the way to the flourishing capital city, and then leaped over the palace walls, to the hypocritical imperial court, to the luxurious imperial palace, to stare straight at the incapable emperor and the treacherous concubine in the tent. As if there was a gust of wind mixed with blood, she raised her chin and closed her eyes. Gradually, her blood-stained lips curled up bit by bit, like a peach blossom blooming in winter. Strange yet beautiful. A smile that could topple a city. At this moment, the general who protected the country had died, and the one who was reborn was the demon concubine, who brought disaster to the country and the people. The Ming family had been loyal for generations. Her father, 3 brothers, the youngest brother, the person she loved the most, all died on the battlefield. However, the emperor whom she was loyal to, the people whom she protected, forced her into a dead end step by step. This family, this country, this world, what else was worth protecting? In that case, let them all be destroyed. Chapter 259. Ningxi only needed to use a dark smile to fully express all of this deep and heavy grief and hatred that could not be dispelled. This time, the scene was dead silent. Until the end of the shooting, no one dared to make a sound. They even breathed loudly, for fear of disturbing the sorrowful and beautiful soul. Many people's eyes were red and they didn't even notice it. It wasn't until director Guiqixing signaled that the shooting was over that everyone suddenly came to their senses and recovered from their grief. Oh my God, I actually cried watching the scene. Sob, 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 sob. I cried too. My heart was so heavy and depressed. Dr. Sun. My Dr. Sun is dead. Ningxi's acting skills are so awesome. Only now do I know that those highlights were just a drop in the bucket. And I finally understand why Guiqixing insisted on using her despite the objections of the public. Why isn't Ningxi the female lead? Compared with Shangguaningrong, the female lead who talks about benevolence and morality, Meng Changa's character is much deeper. In the makeup room backstage, after removing her makeup, Ningxi's face was still full of grief and killing intent. Even Xiao Tao, who wanted to bring her lunch, didn't dare to get too close to her. Just then, Jiang Mai pushed the door open and walked in. He said calmly, "Leave the lunch here. Don't mind her. She'll be done soon." Okay. Xiao Tao put down the lunchbox and ran away in a hurry, still in a state of shock. Ningxi's appearance just now was really creepy, as if she had been possessed. About 5 minutes later, Ningxi got rid of the possessed state and woke up. He stretched his back, cracked his neck and grumbled, "Fuck. I was too immersed in the role this time, and almost couldn't get out." Jiang Mai squinted at her with a dark face. "Be content, okay? Others can't get out for months if they want to act like you. Some even go crazy. You came out in less than an hour. What else do you want?" Beast. Because he was in a dead state during the scene just now, he didn't know Ningxi's performance. Just now, he specially went to watch the replay and was shocked. He felt that Ningxi's love for him was as deep as the sea. "Hey, where's Sister Gigi? I haven't asked Gigi what she thinks of me," Ningxi asked anxiously. As soon as she finished speaking, Lin Gigi pushed the door open and came in. She took a look at the time on her watch and said in a hurry, "Ningxi, I'm going back to the company in the afternoon. Will you be okay by yourself?" "Ah, you're leaving?" Ningxi was a bit disappointed. "Because I'm no longer needed here," Lin Gigi said with a rare smile. Hearing this, Ningxi's spirits were lifted on the spot. This was undoubtedly the greatest affirmation and trust for her. "Then hurry up and do what you need to do. I will take care of myself and be obedient. Okay. Contact me anytime if you need anything." "Alright, I'll send you out." After Ningxi saw Lin Gigi off, Jiang Mai looked at her with disdain. "Look at your flattering face." Ningxi shot him a look of disdain. "Humph, you're just jealous that I'm close to Sister Gigi. Speaking of which, I should thank you. After experiencing a scumbag like you, Sister Gigi will cherish an obedient baby like me even more." Jiang Mai sneered and looked at her as if she was too naive and naive. "You can be complacent. You're going to suffer in the future. Do you think that woman is easy to deal with? Don't blame me for not reminding you when you're tortured to the point of crying for your parents." Chapter 260. The 2 dramas, which would have taken a whole day to finish, were finished in half a day because they were finished in one take. Therefore, there was plenty of time for the interview in the afternoon. Ningxi and Jiang Mai were very cooperative. They basically answered all the questions. The reporters also didn't ask too many sensitive topics. Seeing that the atmosphere was very good, the reporters began to ask some personal questions after the interview about the drama. A reporter said, "Mai, there's a question that people seem to ask every time. This time, I also want to ask you, what kind of girls do you like? Do you like girls like Meng Changa in real life?" Jiang Mai thought for a while with his chin in his hand. "I used to like cute and helpless girls. Now that I'm older, I think girls like Meng Changa are brave and real." After asking Jiang Mai, the reporter turned to Ningxi. "What about you, Ningxi? What kind of men do you like in real life? Or, what are your criteria for choosing a spouse? Can I have a chat with everyone?" Ningxi felt a headache because such a common question was very difficult for her. She didn't want to marry and had never thought about choosing a spouse. How could she have criteria? However, when the reporter asked this question, the figure that flashed across her mind was Ningxi shook her head and concentrated on answering the reporter's question. My criteria for choosing a spouse should be someone of the same age as me, with similar interests and like-minded. Fortunately, she had prepared for this question, so she answered according to the lines that she had prepared. Well, this answer was not perfunctory, but also reasonable. There should be nothing wrong with it. However, at this time, a female reporter next to her said excitedly, "So, Mai has at least 2 criteria. First, Mai is of the same age as you. Third, you are both actors and must be like-minded. As for the second criterion, although I'm not sure whether you have the same interests and hobbies, since these 2 criteria are the same, it's very likely that you have the same interests and hobbies." The corner of Ningxi's mouth twitched and she pushed it back. Haha, in fact, there are a lot of people who fit these criteria. Most importantly, it depends on fate. Jiang Mai, who was standing beside them, also changed the topic with a joke. He said deliberately, "Don't listen to her explanation. Her explanation is just a cover-up. In fact, she is using me as her senior brother's standard for choosing a spouse." Ningxi said, "Senior, do your fans know that you're so narcissistic?" 2 hours later, the interview ended. Although the 2 shocking scenes that they saw today couldn't be published because they couldn't be spoilers, they could still post some short clips and highlights. Moreover, the interview went very smoothly and the content was also very rich. Ningxi and Jiang Mai cooperated well with each other both in and out of the play. There was a lot of material that could be written and broadcast, so the reporters all returned with satisfaction. After the reporters left, Ningxi stretched herself. "I'm so tired. Today's battle had finally come to an end. I'm going back to the hotel to sleep for a while." Jiang Mai glanced at her. "Hotel? Why are you staying in a hotel?" Ningxi looked through the script and sighed. "You know how many scenes I have to play. There are many big night scenes. It's too exhausting to run back and forth, so I discussed with Sister Gigi and decided to stay with the crew during this period." You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.